up, everybody? I'm Taylor with Jesse, Dave, and Lindsay from Cover 4. We have the Cover 4 podcast rolling on December 22nd, 21st?
First day of winter.
First day of winter up in here. Lindsay is on Periscope getting all of your questions, mainly Derek's. Mainly Derek Eagletons.
Hi, Derek.
Get all of our questions for us. Send them. Lindsay's patrolling for the nice comments because you have to be naughty or nice around this time of year. So don't be naughty.
Don't put any naughty comments.
I'll bring the naughties. I'm not afraid of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, bring on the naughties. It's Friday.
Depends on what you're definitely.
Jesse's ready for it.
It's Friday.
It's happy holidays.
Yes.
We've really celebrated on Cover 4
All week.
all week.
All week. We were in the our energy, our festivity, our content.
I felt it.
We were in the holiday spirit all week long.
It started with your first gift. You know, it's the 12 days of Christmas, and Jesse started it off with the first gift of candy.
Yes.
That's true.
He gave us those surprise candy bags, and it was
Took
just
us to the next
It
level.
did.
Yeah.
It did.
Every now and again, you need that kind of that thing to get you over that hump.
Yeah.
I figured that those would do it.
What would you give the Cowboys right now to get over the hump of last week's shutout?
Ooh, I would give them a gift of red zone efficiency.
You said burn the tape earlier this week.
Yes. Yeah, no, well, because here's the thing. You watch certain games and nothing goes right for you in that game. Like that game,
Yeah.
you hear it a lot. Oh, phase of the game, right? The kicking game, offense and defense. Literally nothing went right. They had a field goal block. They gave up a shutout on offense. They got shut out on defense. They got mauled. And that's the kind of tape you just say, you know what? We don't even have to rehash this. This isn't who we really are in some aspects of the game. Let's just burn this tape.
Yeah.
And just look forward to Tampa Bay and say, let's focus all our energy and efforts on Tampa Bay. Don't even worry about that debacle of a game last week.
What did you retweet last night? That stat that really hurt all of our eyes. We don't want to see it anymore.
Was it about the red zone?
Yes.
I mean,
It was red zone.
the Cowboys are 31st
Problem.
in red zone offense, and the Buccaneers are 32nd in red zone defense.
You have to say your tweet though. Like you had like a wordy.
Dave had a
phrase.
pun or a
I
little
think
jokey?
it was our friend Bobby was involved.
I don't know. What
I know he had a stat that said like the Cowboys in like the last 17 or 18 red zone trips.
They're
they had,
19. They're 19 of 41 in the red zone, just overall.
but they have like
touchdowns.
netted 17 total yards or
That's
something crazy
something
like
crazy
that.
like
they
Thank
have.
you.
Thank you, Kent.
Yeah, they have like 16 rushing yards, 4 rushing yards in their last 16 attempts in the red zone.
Right.
There we go.
It's like 17, but it's like overall 17 net yards.
That was like 2 or 3 nights ago, not last night. But
Well,
I hear you.
And Lindsay's bold prediction, which I could see it happening, Zeke getting a big game this weekend. And you were talking about how Ms. D shared on Twitter that since he's been playing football since the age of 7, he's never played on a team that did not score any points, which makes sense because he's usually the one scoring the points. So I feel like they're like, no, this is uncomfortable. Let's not do that again. Let's get going.
I said over the weekend, like, it sounds counterintuitive, but they were so bad against the Colts that it made me feel confident. Like, I was just like, oh, yeah. Like
This isn't them.
I was like, this isn't them. They're not that bad. I mean, they're not that good a lot of the time either, especially when it comes to stuff like red zone scoring. But they're not. I mean, they haven't looked that terrible. Even at the beginning of the season when they were losing to Carolina and Seattle, they didn't look as bad as they did.
I will say it makes me more confident that they're at home this weekend because we've seen them struggle on the road this season and be uncharacteristic on the road.
Listen to me. I do not
Listen to him, Dave.
want to go up to New Jersey without having clinched this division. I do not want to do
I was
that.
about to say, what do you want to say about my home state?
No.
New Jersey's,
New Jersey's fine.
it smells.
New Jersey's fine in my experience. I don't want to go up there needing a win against
Right.
the
Brian Broaddus said it probably 6 weeks ago.
He-
We were just talking about all
Oh, I
scenarios.
thought he was on the Periscope. I was like, thank you, Brian.
Brian, you kidding me? He's not on here with these.
classic. That's classic Brian Broaddus.
Stick
You-
it right up your rear.
There we
Here you
go.
go.
There you go.
I'm the only one that's been to jail. Just get ready. Just get ready. We're going up. We're gonna have to go up
I'm
to
the only guy here who's been in jail.
go up to the Forest Hills, New Jersey Mall and hang around.
You don't want to do that, guys.
You don't want
wanna
to do that. Snow
Last
on
week
the
of the
ground,
season.
Last week of the
As
season.
crazy as
picking an
Mickey
L.
sounds, I have to agree with him.
Oh God.
Yeah, because Mickey will call Dub.
He will.
Yeah. So, the thing of it is that they'll be at home this week. They'll be, excited to actually clinch the NFC East in front of their fans on their home field, which they have a home field advantage this year. It's Christmas time. The red kettles are still out. I really feel positive about this weekend.
You don't want to go into Christmas next week with that hanging on your head. You don't want that bag of coal hanging from your stocking over the chimney, losing 2 games in a row, losing to the Colts, and then turn around losing at home to Tampa Bay, especially if Philadelphia goes out and wins another football game.
And you'll know about the Redskins on Saturday.
You will.
Yeah.
Our friend on Periscope, Turlock, says fans are crazy, continuing to blame the coaches when players are failing to execute simple assignments. Where do you guys fall on that argument?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I said that at the beginning. I mean,
It's a play-by-play basis.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Coach.
I mean, the play call to Jameis Olawale was a good play call. It was
Great.
He was there. The throw should have been better. The catch should have been better.
But here's the thing on that, and I agree with you. I think Olawale is a professional player. He's a professional football player. He should make this catch. But the one
Just your
area where you decide to get creative,
Exactly.
you pick. If there was a list, list of who is the best suited to catch a pass in the red zone and who is the least suited eligible player to catch a pass in the red zone, Jameis Olawale is probably dead last.
Yeah.
And then you use the one area of getting creative to throw the pass
would have caught it.
to the one guy who
Right here in
has
this
probably, if there was like a Bovada poll or a percentage, he would have the highest percentage of the person who will not be able to convert this pass play. And you throw it to him.
It was very Pete Carroll.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do not. Sorry, Tay.
No, go ahead.
They don't have confidence in themselves to just do the obvious thing. Which I get it. Their offensive line is a mess, but it's been a season-long trend.
There it is.
They get down there and they're just like, well, we can't run it. They know we're going to run it. And I'm like, well, isn't that the whole point? Isn't that why you drafted all these O-linemen and this running back is so that even when they know you're going to run, you can run?
But then, like, when you come out of a timeout and you know they're going to run and then you get stuffed.
Yeah. No, and it's funny. I said this during the game. I was like, they get creative when they probably don't need to get creative, and then when they need to get creative, they
get cute.
They
get basic.
They do the obvious thing.
Yeah.
Like, so it's 3rd and 1. I would run it twice. I would probably sneak Dak Prescott twice in that scenario.
Yeah, but don't bring in the jumbo package.
No,
right?
because it doesn't work.
It never works. Don't bring in the more fat guys.
That's the problem though. They're not even fat.
This is a fat inclusive show here.
Hey, I'm not the guys on this team's jumbo package are tiny. Like Dalton Schultz, Rico Gathers, and Blake Jarwin. Who are they blowing off the ball? They're athletic tight ends. They're not like these big blocker
Right now,
guys.
he's too fat.
He's got an ass drop, Ken. If you can pull that one up too.
Brian?
No, Nick.
Oh.
I think Douglas deleted that one.
Oh,
sadly.
damn it.
Douglas.
So you have 2 opportunities to get a yard on 3rd and 1. You get cute. It doesn't work. And then you're like, oh, here we come. Our 240-pound tight ends are going to blow you off the ball, and it gets wrecked. And
Blakey.
don't love it. I don't love it.
Guys, so, back to the Bucs. I was super interested about the fact that they're like so terrible on the road. So I was reading this whole article, and this guy basically wrote from Tampa Bay about how in the 2016 game, I think it was December 18th, 2016. The Bucs had been on a 5-game winning streak. They were 8-5. They were just like kind of cruising through the league. They were kind of a playoff. Did they make it to the
5?
No, they were on the. They were in the fringe. They were like in contention for a wild card.
Yeah, and people were like, okay, Jameis is your dude. Mike Evans, it was unstoppable. They had just gotten a win against the San Diego Chargers at the time. They were still in San Diego on the road. Come to AT&T Stadium, lay an egg. It was actually a closer game. It was like 26-20.
That's
pretty close. But then since then, he has not won a road game, Jameis Winston.
we broke him.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so that's crazy to me over the fact that
0-12 on the road.
yeah, he's had now all these seasons, then the suspension, but then back and forth with Fitz.
I remember that game was the week before the Lions game when they just obliterated the Lions, and I feel like it runs together and people.
The Lions would have been the next week.
That's what I said. It was or did I say it was the game after? I mean, it was the game before.
So the Bucs
you said
were
it
the
right.
game before.
The Bucs game was on the 18th and the Lions game was on
Yes,
the 26th.
26.
and I feel like those two games run together for me, and I think of that Bucs game as like this blowout win, but it was not. Like it was a 6-point. It was 26-20. The Bucs had the ball with a chance to win near the end of the game, and David Irving was just eating the right tackle for lunch. Like they could not get the ball off because of David Irving. Be nice
But Mike Evans was making some plays in that game.
I also remember it was like 5 degrees, and your poor sister was the pregame act in the plaza.
Ooh.
That
West
is true.
Plaza?
There were like, and this is not Alex Stern has an amazing singing voice. It's not an indictment of her talent ability, but it was 5 degrees, and there was just nobody out there. Nobody wanted to stand outside and watch her sing.
This is true. Well, that game had gotten flexed. Remember in 2016 there was like 6 games in a row that got flexed or something?
Yeah, we did
crazy.
have a
There were
few.
6 games, all primetime games. That game got flexed. She was originally scheduled to perform for the noon game. Got flexed. It was literally like 12 degrees. The next week for Christmas in Texas, it was like 73.
Yeah, I remember that.
And everyone was like, "Oh, it's so beautiful outside."
Where were
Alex,
you last week? Inside.
Good
If the
times.
Cowboys clinch on Sunday, guys, our friend wants to know.
Just could they?
If
Oh.
they clinch,
Oh, if they.
will they rest Zeke week 17? And I think we've learned from Jason Garrett he doesn't like to rest people, but what do you think?
We play 60
Well, Zeke
minutes.
is a little banged up.
He said this at, somebody asked him like, why were all the starters in the game with 4 minutes to play in a blowout loss to Indy? And well, we play 60 minutes, we play to the whistle, but we can make exceptions. And
I did notice that when he was saying that because
That
he
would-
was like really firm in that, but then
he's not an idiot. Like, yeah, I think he would. I think it would be similar to
Eagles.
that Eagles game a couple years ago. I think like you would, Zach Martin, I would sit. Zeke, I would sit. I would probably sit Tyron Smith, and then
Asking about what you would do, David.
I think that's what he would do too.
Okay.
I think
that game made me so mad.
I think,
And if you're talking about sitting Zach Martin and Tyron
and
Smith,
I wouldn't let Dak. Play
I
for
was
more
going to
than-
say, I'm like,
I wouldn't let him play for more than a few series. Like,
Okay.
He wouldn't be in there after certainly after halftime, but probably not even into the second quarter.
Remember that game, Dave?
Yeah.
It had Nathan Peterman in his quarterback.
No, not Nathan Peterman.
That was last season.
Nate Sudfeld.
Sudfeld. Nathan Sudfeld.
Yeah.
No.
And they're winning.
Yeah.
The Eagles are winning. Obviously, no
Oh.
players are playing anymore. I think
Competitive.
Tony
day.
Romo threw his last touchdown in that game
Yeah.
to
march
Terrence
down
Williams.
the field.
And I remember they start doing like the goodbye chant to the Cowboys fans. And I'm like, this isn't even a playoff team.
Yeah, like
Who do they think they are?
Zach Ertz had 2 touchdowns, and like the Eagles.
I missed that version of Tay.
The Eagles were
She
pumped,
Was
and
The
like,
press box
She
version.
wanted to take on every opposing fan.
That's press box fan.
Taylor was not. She wasn't being subtle at all. She was like, "I'd be embarrassed if I were an Eagles fan. This is pathetic.
Yeah.
You're cheering about a meaningless game. You're not going to the playoffs, and we are. I would shut up if I were you."
It was
I
very.
missed that Tay.
It was press box day.
She was aggressive.
Press
I can't
box
be that way when we're
day.
here at the Star because Brian and Nate would murder me.
Why? Because they're the ones that are too busy yelling.
Oh my
There,
gosh.
yeah, there's no more room for any sound to like bounce off the walls in the studio whenever it's a
I
good
hear
day.
it gets lit in the studio when Brian and Nate are watching a Cowboys game. That's what I've been told.
we're in the hush press box. You can't
Yeah,
make too
I
much.
know.
You can't make much noise in the
Yeah,
press box at
no,
the stadium.
this-
It still does happen though a little bit sometimes. I've
I
been in there.
I
it's
hear.
it's the great lie. We talked about this on Monday. Like, NFL press box are nowhere near as professional as you would think that they are.
And I
No.
feel like they keep getting more lax and more lax.
Nah, we get hushed on our end. I don't know
Do you?
about
Oh.
they come and hush us. Like,
Our
Never forget the greatest hush that happened to me, and it wasn't even remember.
You were distracting me.
She's
you were
still-
I was what was the play? I was on the.
It was a
back
preseason
row.
game, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't a preseason game.
you were.
Was it?
I just
Mine
remember.
It was literally so pointless, but I was
You
on
were
the
sitting
back
next to me.
row. No one saw except the people next to me, you and Dave, and it was like
And you got shushed.
an over the top.
I
shush.
was like, can someone?
But
shush
the
her,
best
please?
thing was I wasn't making noise. I was rolling my arms. I think Dak like rushed for a touchdown.
Roll
looked
it,
at
roll
Dave,
it,
and I was
roll
like,
it.
hey. But I made no noise, but I still got the biggest like arm grab and shush.
from one of the usher people.
Sure.
No.
Sure, we'll go with that.
She doesn't want to name names.
Oh, okay.
I won't bring
Everyone
down
listens
this
to Cover
podcast.
4 podcast.
True.
It was a close second for the Big Leads best podcast of 2018.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I didn't
it
know
was
that.
What?
right up there, the Cover 4 podcast. But yeah, I mean, I have a positive feeling about this game. I appreciate when people watch our show and then respond back to us about our bold predictions. Like, I'll notice, like, when the game's going on, you saw this, like, last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, the Eagles game. Like, when people know our bold predictions, they'll be, like, tweeting at us during the game.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, someone tweeted at me last night and they're like, I think Byron Jones will get a pick 6 too, and that will set the tone. And I do think if that does happen, it will, because then the offense is like, look, the defense continues to carry us. Now they can't carry us with points. We have to get on the board.
And maybe that did throw the offense for a loop last week in Indy because they couldn't stop Indianapolis, the offense. I mean, the defense, they couldn't even, they didn't really get a stop.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The offense has been what it is all year.
Right.
When the defense didn't live up to par last week, that's what happens with this team.
Yeah,
Gotta have them setting the tone.
Yeah.
Because you look for those opportunities, that short field, that momentum change, doing something to give you maybe like an advantage. And the defense didn't give the offense that last week, and they kind of were spinning their wheels. But to talk about your point, Taya, Byron getting a pick 6, if there was ever a week, besides probably the last week if Eli Manning plays, if there was ever a week for anyone to get a pick 6, this will probably be the best week.
Please?
This will probably be the best week because 20%,
You need that momentum back.
20% of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers drives end on a turnover.
That's true.
20%.
32 on the year.
I
32
didn't want to say
giveaways.
this in my bold prediction because I wanted to go with the Byron Jones Pro Bowl storyline, but it will probably be Jeff Heath in this game. Him and Jameis,
Go.
This weird
this
is where the
weird
goat was
connection
originated.
bond. In 2015,
This was- yeah.
the team went down to Tampa Bay on a, exciting day for me. Holly Holmes had just beaten Ronda Rousey the night before.
Yes.
It was
Forgot about
super hyped. And I think Jeff Heath made this great interception in the game. And then
two,
at
I believe.
Yeah, well then at the end, the big penalty, lost the game.
Yeah.
But then in 2016 he also had another pick on Jameis. It'll probably be Jeff Heath.
Give us
but
more picks, Jameis.
They need
Thank
to
you.
win that. They need to win the
advance.
turnover battle in this game. They didn't have one last week. I think the last time they had multiple in a game was against Washington on Thanksgiving, I think. And they scored 30 points in that game. And there's no reason why they can't get at least one.
Okay, I have a question. So 2 years ago, Cowboys win the East. The T-shirts say "Hold down the East." What's the phrase this year? I mean, we could probably take something from whatever the Rams had on their T-shirts. They always have that phrase like
Yeah.
Kings of the North.
The Rams, the Bears, and the Saints have all clinched. I think it might say like blank runs the division. Cowboys run the East or something like that.
I'll get down to the bottom of this. Are you guys going to get that shirt?
No.
No,
Better be on my desk.
I was say,
wasn't
like to
2
pay
years
for
ago.
it? To pay for the shirt?
Yeah.
Not happening.
No, I'm not. I'm not a bit. I don't. Yeah. No.
Cover 4 doesn't pay. No.
So
They'll pay for us.
Brian spoke with Pro Shop people yesterday. We're gonna have the hats at our set if they win. I'm gonna make Brian wear it during the show.
That's awesome.
That's a great idea.
With his bow
And
tie?
if not, I will throw them all outside and let the winter wind sweep them away.
Well,
Because you don't want to watch that Giants game.
I don't.
don't.
We're staying in suburban New Jersey.
Oof.
We're gonna.
Does your stomach just kind of get a little upset already thinking about just that scenario, the tenseness of it all?
Yeah, I'm gonna eat
The
dinner.
plane ride?
I'm gonna eat dinner at the Cheesecake Factory and just be like, oh boy.
Do they still stay in Jersey City?
No, they preferably they put us in Jersey City when we go to New York, but for whatever reason it wasn't available. So we're staying in Short Hills, which is
By the mall.
yeah, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes away from the city.
2 years ago, we went to New York. This is when I was still traveling, and it was snowing, and it was so magical. And I remember Alfred Morris was doing Snow Angels, and it was amazing. They lost that game. It was the same week.
So great, it was so beautiful.
magical.
and
So
they lost.
majestic, and they
What
lost.
I'm saying,
Let's get to
though,
the Giants
they were
fans.
kind of fooling around, not really focused in on the game. Next week, they come and beat the Bucs.
And this is really important about this game because Tampa is a team that wants to quit. But you have to give them a reason to quit. You have to give them a
wanna-
You
reason.
just got to step on their throats a little bit and they'll
Whoa.
quit.
Whoa.
Like you do.
Right?
step on their
Like
throat.
like an early interception, and then the game will be done.
But that's the one thing that I fear, because the Cowboys offense at times can be slow at getting started, especially in these earlier games. Even though it's at home, you have an earlier game.
Why? What is it with the noon games?
Like, why are we playing them? Or
No, David.
what?
No.
Lindsay's
just-
not that uneducated.
No. Well,
Here he goes again, trying to serve up. No,
You need to be a professional analyst.
I just
out
think they
there.
start slow on noon games.
Yeah. And honestly, like, the time change matter. Your morning starts a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
You kind of you hadn't gotten into your day just yet. You're still kind of yawning a little bit.
This team doesn't
And
play a lot of noon.
I think
Right.
I think it matters for these guys. Like,
Yeah.
in 2016, the Eagles game, which didn't matter, was like the first noon game they'd played in probably a month. No, more than a month.
And honestly, it throws your routine off in the morning. Like, when you're at home and you're used to kind of getting up, getting your omelet and getting your waffle and doing whatever, and then you leave and then you go home and then you do whatever you do at home, maybe get dressed, and then you come to the game.
Just from our perspective, like when this team plays a 7:30 game, like, doesn't matter when your alarm goes off.
Right.
Like, you can run.
Here around 3 or 4.
You run some errands, you eat some lunch, you do what you got. You have a day to yourself, and then at like 4:00 you go to work. Whereas for a noon game, like, I'm gonna have to get up at like 7 something in the morning on Sunday.
gosh,
You guys are the worst, man. You guys are the worst.
Prayers up for a big man.
Everyone
helmet.
pray
Oh.
for David.
As a mother, I'm sorry that you don't have to get up early every day.
But as a player, you think about it. If the game is at noon, right, you have to be there 2 hours before, yes?
Yeah.
So you got to be there at 10.
Yeah.
Which means your morning routine starts a little bit differently. You have to be up a little bit earlier, because if you come over and you do hot, cold tub, if you do your stretching routine, whatever it is that you normally do, everything now gets bumped up. And so your body sometimes just isn't ready to go into that full drive. And you can't, this team, as bad as Tampa can be, it also can be a very explosive team. They have a ton of explosive plays.
Don't forget
They have a
about Mike
ton of
Evans.
explosive players.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Jackson, I'm here, is playing in
Yes.
this game.
Playing.
So,
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
And then like, people get up to play the Cowboys in general, but when they come here, it's an extra incentive to beat them in Jerry's world.
And especially when you have nothing to lose on this.
And you have nothing to lose. A lot of these guys have already.
That's the problem with these last two teams also.
If you ask each one of these guys honestly on this football team, I bet you 75% already have their flight information, hotel reservations for their trip to Cabo in the offseason. Like the season ends for them, they do their exit meetings, they're gone.
Yeah, New Year's plans, Vegas.
Packed up already.
Like, the cars are back at the offseason home.
I would.
They
I would
already have it.
I would have all that stuff booked. Like, it would be.
It would be, what would it be?
Where would you
Cabo,
be, David? What beach would
Vegas.
you be on?
I'd go to like the French Riviera or something if I was an NFL player.
So sophisticated.
Yeah,
Yeah, like Ibiza. You ever heard that song?
that's Spain.
Yeah, a lot of these players they don't have that sophisticated taste.
You're right.
They're like, oh, we're going to Vegas, bro. We're going to Miami, bro. We're going to
Ew,
Cabo.
Cringe.
Vegas would be fun too.
Guys, I found out the saying.
not
that's
wholesome
on the
enough for
shirts.
me.
This year it's repping the West, repping the East, repping the North.
Reppin'? That's
Reppin'.
so 2002.
That's really
Somebody
lame.
came up with it and they're like, this year, like,
How about reppin'? Oh, we've got a
I'm
comment
not-
here that says Shannon Gross ready for Cancun.
he goes to Playa, actually.
He's got his trip to
Fine,
Playa already
Shannon.
booked.
When does he go?
Like championship weekend.
Oh, no faith.
Well, so I
I
mean, he's
never want to go to
he's
Mexico.
he's worked here for like 15 years.
So
and
he's
it's
like,
never
well,
happened. So
It's been on the books
But
for 15
that's
years.
that's his joke all
It
the
got
time.
pushed
Is
back a week, I think, this year. It's like Pro Bowl weekend.
okay. It's around that time of year, but either way, like he always jokes like, well, either I get to go to Mexico or I get to cancel my Mexico trip for a Super Bowl run.
Yes,
So like
yes.
either way, I'm fine with it.
I just remember being in the locker room with a team with about 3 or 4 games left, and there was no chance for us going to the playoffs, and literally hearing guys in the locker room, like, on the phone with travel agents, on the phone with, like, their people.
You know,
to come
Turks
get
and
cars
part
and
of
stuff
me
like that.
is like, you guys kind of deserve that. You know, like you've been doing this.
Yeah, but you
since-
checked out 4 games left.
4 games is, but have you they're still gonna play.
Hey,
they're still gonna
people-
go out and do it.
People with regular jobs can book.
If
a
I told
vacation.
you,
I know.
if I
Yeah.
told
To
you
me.
who it was and you
Turks
went
and
back
Cakes.
and watched the film, you would see that they completely
so you're talking about a select few.
yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about individuals.
Not
Yeah.
everybody, but a select few that was
Definitely.
totally checked out.
Definitely, people check out, give up, make business decisions, but there's a lot of blue collar guys. Who
That would
still
be
keep
me.
Back
playing.
in
You
July.
know, the Jesse Hollies of the world. Dave would be like,
I don't have-
Coach, I'm sitting out and you can't make me play.
Back in July,
I don't have the mental strength
my
for that.
boyfriend's family decided that their Christmas gift for everyone was going to be a full paid, all paid trip to Turks and Caicos.
Oh, are you serious?
That's so cool.
Okay, well I'm not
Yeah,
going.
it
now.
doesn't feel good, does it? Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about this year. Turks and Cakes. Yeah, now this
Okay,
team's going to go to
I've
the playoffs and
yet
you got to stay
finish the
here.
Story for Jesse has no idea what I'm talking
She's
about.
not. She hasn't finished the story, Linz.
Okay, so back to it. Back in July, they planned it. They wanted to go over Christmas break. I said, I don't get a Christmas break. So then they planned it January 5th through the 10th, the Saturday through the Thursday. So all year it was like either this team is going to be terrible when they're 3-5. I was like, looks like I'm going to Turks and Caicos.
Get the bathing suit ready.
Then 5-game win streak. No. So now,
So
still
now
up
where
in
are
the
you?
air.
Yeah, now where are you at?
We're still up in the air a little bit.
You will not be going to Turks and Cakes.
I don't believe because of the way this team is playing, but
What are the
it
dates?
happened. January 5th through the 10th.
So 5th is that Saturday that the
That's-
Cowboys could play.
Oh, it always happens that way.
Yeah.
But then you could just jump on the plane Sunday and miss work.
No. And we'd have a cover 4. I wouldn't want to do that.
I'm in a wedding on Wild Card Saturday. The guy asked me to do it in the summer, and I was like, "That's Wild Card weekend," and he was like, "I know, don't worry about it." I'm like, all right, this is on you, man.
So are you going?
I don't know. We'll see.
See? Dave's in my same boat.
If the Cowboys play a wild card game on Saturday,
Is it here?
No, it's in New Orleans. If the Cowboys played on Saturday, I'd probably miss, and if they played on Sunday, I'd go to the wedding and fly back on Sunday morning.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to wrap up before talking Cowboys gets in here. But, guys, great week of shows. Great holiday spirit. Keep it going.
Way to just lead us through this podcast, Taylor. I
Wait,
think you did a
can we
great
get
job.
a round of a pleasy?
For everyone. Kent, Caden,
God
Tex,
rest
make
ye
some
merry
great graphics this week.
gentlemen. No, I thought Linz was going to sing with me.
All right. Pregame show running at 11
Just
a.m.
laid out on me right here.
See you then.
Come holler at me in the West Plaza.
What a mess.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?